Target ahead. Steady. 633. Squadron was not just a wartime flight film. It was a raw, volatile reconstruction of courage, built with real planes, real explosions, and real danger. What audiences see as smooth aerial heroism was forged from unstable aircraft to brutal weather, and a production crew pushed to the edge. Chaos erupts behind the scenes as wings shake apart rigs, malfunction and blast waves roar across the valley like rolling thunder. Today, we are diving into 20 weird facts about 633 Squadron that reveal the truth behind the myth. Fact number 20. It will be dangerous, no doubt about that. Opens the film with a sense of grim duty, but what audiences never see is the real tension behind the scenes. 633 Squadron was not just a wartime aviation adventure. It was a brutal, ground-up reconstruction of the Royal Air Force mythos, built with real planes, real explosions, and real risks. Production erupts into chaos the moment the crew learns that most of the Mosquito aircraft are barely flight-worthy. Mechanics from local airfields rush in and work around the clock. It is not nostalgia, but desperation. Not polished heroics, but patched together metal. The crew treats each takeoff as a gamble. Every aerial shot you see carries the weight of actual danger, and the film crew feels that danger in their bones long before audiences ever sit down to watch. Fact number 19. What viewers assume is a clean, polished flight movie is actually an operation held together with nerve and improvisation. Several Mosquito aircraft used in the film have structural weaknesses that threaten to collapse during sharp turns. Pilots warned the production that one wrong angle could send a plane spiraling into disaster. It is not movie magic, but real engineering fragility. The director insists on wide sweeping shots to capture the elegance of the planes in motion, but the pilots quietly recalculate every maneuver to avoid catastrophic stress on the wings. What audiences did not know is that these airmen fly with silent fear gripping them with every take. Aerial dailies are reviewed each night like battlefield footage. The tension is present in every frame, and every low pass over the Norwegian Valley carries a risk far heavier than the script ever suggests. Fact number 18. The explosions you see in the fjord sequences are not simple pyrotechnic tricks. They are massive practical detonations, loaded with enough force to shake the ground half a mile away. Local villages complain as windows rattle and livestock bolt in terror. It is not theatrical spectacle, but real shock waves tearing through the valley. The crew positions cameras dangerously close to the blast zones because the director wants maximum immersion. Assistants crouch behind boulders, feeling heat wash over them as detonations erupt into towering plumes. What audiences never realize is that several crew members suffer temporary hearing loss during these days of filming. Protective gear is limited at the time, and misfires occur more than once. The final result looks seamless on screen, but the cost in adrenaline stress and close calls is far greater than the production ever advertises. Fact number 17. Leading man. Cliff Robertson steps into the role with military precision and a sharp sense of responsibility, but the production is far rougher than he expects. The director pushes him toward increasingly demanding cockpit scenes inside mock aircraft, rigged on hydraulic frames. These frames shake violently to simulate turbulence, and Robertson often walks away bruised. It is not simple acting, but full-body endurance work. Not comfortable Hollywood lighting, but sweat-soaked pressure. During one sequence, the rig malfunctions and slams him sideways, leaving him stunned for several minutes. He refuses to halt filming, insisting that the story of the squadron deserves authenticity. What audiences do not see is his stubborn commitment and the exhaustion creeping into his posture as the shoot progresses. His performance carries the weight of these unseen battles fought inside cramped wooden mock-ups that feel more like traps than sets. Fact number 16. The Norwegian Valley set is breathtaking on screen, but filming there pushes the crew into dangerous weather. Fog rolls in without warning. Gusts tear across the cliffs and scatter equipment. Helicopters used for aerial shots struggle to stay steady as winds ricochet between rock walls. It is not serene mountain scenery, but a volatile corridor where nature controls every moment. The production schedule collapses repeatedly as storms delay flights and ground the Mosquito replicas. Crew members cling to ropes while transporting gear along narrow paths. What audiences never know is that a near-fatal incident occurs when a sudden downdraft slams a helicopter toward the valley floor. The pilot barely recovers in time. The shaken camera operator keeps filming through instinct, not bravery. The footage remains in vaults unseen, but the danger lingers as a silent ghost, haunting every completed shot. Fact number 15. The iconic low-level attack shots almost break the production. The Mosquito planes must fly dangerously close to the valley floor to sell the illusion of high-speed precision strikes. Pilots warn that one misjudged dip could smash the aircraft against the rock face. It is not cinematic style, but genuine risk. During one take, a Mosquito drops lower than planned and clips treetops, sending splinters flying across a camera crew. The director refuses to ease up, insisting the audience must feel the danger pulse through the screen. What viewers never know is that pilots often walk away shaking drained from the strain of these razor-edge maneuvers. Each shot becomes a battle between artistic ambition and physical survival. The film earns its realism because real danger beats beneath every breathtaking flight. Fact number 14. The German mountain base that explodes so dramatically in the climax is not a miniature. It is a full-scale structure, built deep in a valley, then packed with fuel and explosives. Engineers calculate how much force the blast will produce. Yet, when the moment arrives, the explosion erupts with far greater power than expected. Debris rains down across a massive radius, forcing crews to duck behind trucks and boulders. It is not controlled spectacle, but a wild blast that genuinely terrifies the team. One assistant later admits he feels the air punch his chest, as if a giant fist hits him. Audiences praise the scene for its intensity, without realizing the crew experiences that intensity at life-threatening range. The fireball becomes one of the most dangerous practical effects ever attempted for an aviation film. Fact number 13. Ron Goodwin's musical score becomes legendary, but its creation is a pressure cooker. The studio demands something triumphant, yet gritty, and wants it delivered faster than any composer would consider reasonable. Goodwin isolates himself in his workspace, refusing calls and working through nights as pages of sheet music pile around him. It is not inspiration, but war against time. Not leisurely creativity, but survival. He rewrites entire themes after hearing rough dailies that show the stark violence of the battles. What audiences never know is that he conducts early sessions while battling exhaustion so deep he nearly collapses during a recording break. Yet the pounding rhythm that emerges becomes one of the most recognizable aviation themes in film history, a score built not from comfort, but from fire pressure and unbroken determination. Fact number 12. The actors playing pilots are forced into intense training sessions to mimic the movements and reactions of real Royal Air Force crews. Instructors drill them on cockpit procedures, emergency checks, and combat positioning with strict discipline. Mistakes lead to retakes and physical exhaustion. It is not gentle rehearsal, but military-style immersion. The hydraulic cockpit rigs shake them violently to simulate turbulence and anti-aircraft fire. During one session, the power supply surges and the frame jolts with brutal force, sending an actor crashing into the side panel. The set falls silent as medics rush in. He recovers, but tension hangs over the team. What audiences never see is that every cockpit close-up carries traces of real discomfort, pain, and pressure endured by actors determined to honor the aviators they portray. Fact number 11. A little-known challenge emerges during night filming. The Mosquito aircraft are outfitted with additional lighting to create visible silhouettes against the sky. Yet these lights attract swarms of insects that clog vents and coat cockpit windows. Crew members scramble to wipe them down between takes. It is not glamorous aviation work, but messy, relentless maintenance. One pilot later remarks that he can barely see through the insect smears during a crucial pass. The production attempts chemical repellents, but shifting winds blow the mist back toward equipment and cause coughing fits among technicians. What audiences never realize is that some of the night shots are executed with pilots flying half-blind, trusting their instincts and the faint shine of moonlight. The serene beauty on screen hides the chaos churning just beyond the frame. Fact number 10. The Valley Assault sequence becomes the most difficult part of the entire production. Multiple aircraft must fly in formation through a narrow corridor, surrounded by steep rock walls. One pilot misjudges altitude during a rehearsal and scrapes the top of a pine tree, sending branches spinning through the air. The crew gasps as the Mosquito wobbles, then steadies. It is not stylized danger, but actual near disaster. Tension spreads through the team, and tempers flare as safety concerns clash with artistic ambition. What audiences never know is that this single moment sparks a full night of arguments between pilots and production heads. The risk feels overwhelming, yet the footage looks spectacular. And before we continue, go ahead and like and subscribe, because these next facts dive even deeper into the chaos behind this legendary war film. Fact number 9. The smoke-filled bombing scenes look haunting on screen, but filming them exposes the cast and crew to thick, choking haze that hangs in the air long after each take. Without modern ventilation systems, the fog lingers inside hangars and leaves everyone coughing. It is not atmospheric magic, but grit that coats throats and stings eyes. Extras portraying ground crew stumble between takes, trying to catch their breath. A doctor on set treats several people for irritation and dizziness. During one intense setup, the wind shifts unexpectedly and sends a wave of smoke straight into sensitive camera equipment, forcing operators to rip off their headsets and shield their faces. What audiences never know is that the haunting realism of these scenes is achieved through real discomfort and the kind of physical strain that leaves memories long after filming ends. Fact number 8. The film crew faces a logistical nightmare transporting fragile Mosquito aircraft across difficult terrain. These planes are lightweight, yet temperamental, and must be moved carefully to avoid warping the wooden frames. Mechanics and grips push them along uneven ground, using padded supports that constantly slip out of place. It is not smooth studio work, but backbreaking effort under unpredictable weather. Rain turns the path into thick mud, and workers struggle ankle-deep, hauling equipment and aircraft parts for hours. During one move, a wheel sinks, and the plane tilts dangerously, forcing a dozen crew members to sprint over and brace the fuselage before it collapses. The exhaustion from these endless transfers affects morale and pushes the schedule into disarray. What audiences never see is how much sheer muscle power holds each scene together behind the camera. Fact number 7. Dialogue. Scenes inside the base headquarters appear calm, yet they are filmed under brutal lighting conditions. The production uses extremely hot lamps to mimic the harsh wartime glow and to maintain consistent shadows for continuity. These lamps transform the small set into a sweltering chamber. Actors sweat through their uniforms, and makeup artists constantly intervene. It is not dignified command room drama, but endurance under heat. During a long monologue, a supporting actor starts to feel faint and must step away before collapsing. The director shortens the shot list to prevent further incidents. But tension builds as the cast battles rising temperatures. What audiences never know is that the measured, confident performances in these scenes are delivered while everyone silently wonders if the lights will push them past their breaking point. Fact number 6. The mountaintop gun emplacements built for the final attack require stunt performers to navigate precarious ledges, while explosives detonate dangerously close. Safety teams place markers on the ground, yet shifting winds blow dust across the site, making the markers nearly impossible to see. It is not controlled choreography, but improvisation in hazardous terrain. During one rehearsal, a stunt performer slips on loose gravel and slides several feet toward a cliff edge before another performer grabs him. The production halts as everyone processes how close the accident comes. When filming resumes, the atmosphere is charged with anxiety and determination. What audiences never know is that every blast echoing across the rocks is surrounded by real human risk. The intensity behind the scenes fuels the authenticity that makes the sequence unforgettable. Fact number 5. The Norwegian fjord location becomes a battlefield between weather and production demands. The narrow waterway traps, wind, and funnels it straight toward equipment stations. Sound crews fight roaring gusts that distort recordings and scatter microphones across the rocks. It is not peaceful natural beauty, but a relentless force hammering the chute. During one critical take, the wind flips a lighting rig and slams it into a supply crate, narrowly missing 2 technicians. This incident forces the team to anchor every piece of gear with ropes and weighted sandbags. What audiences never know is that some of the most dramatic wide shots are captured during brief windows when the wind softens for only minutes. The crew waits silently, watching clouds shift and racing to roll cameras before the valley unleashes its next chaotic blast. Fact number 4. The aircraft attack on the fuel dump looks like a seamless ballet of destruction, but creating it takes staggering precision. Pyrotechnic charges are placed across a wide field to simulate exploding storage drums. These charges are powerful enough to knock a grown man back if triggered too close. It is not controlled spectacle, but a chain reaction of fire timed to the second. During one test, a fuse burns faster than expected, and the blast erupts early, sending dirt and smoke surging into the air while the crew dives for cover. The director demands the scene be redone with even larger explosions. What audiences never know is that the fireball captured on camera is the real dangerous version created when the special effects team pushes past their fears to deliver unforgettable cinematic impact. Fact number 3. The Norwegian resistance characters rely on authentic costuming sourced from actual wartime stock. Many uniforms are fragile and emit a musty smell from decades in storage. Actors wear them despite discomfort and occasional allergic reactions. It is not polished wardrobe glamour, but a direct link to wartime history. During a cold morning shoot, one coat tears along the sleeve, revealing rotted stitching and forcing the team to repair it on the spot with whatever materials are available. These garments absorb moisture from rain and sweat, making them heavy and clammy. What audiences never know is that each fabric thread carries a silent echo of real soldiers who once used similar gear. The performances gain a subtle weight because the actors feel that history pressing against their skin with every movement. Fact number 2. The sound of the Mosquito engines becomes one of the film's defining elements, yet capturing it proves extremely challenging. The real aircraft engines produce a sharp, vibrating roar that rattles the ground. Microphones distort under the intensity. It is not clean audio engineering, but a constant fight against overwhelming noise. Sound technicians experiment with positions, hiding microphones inside trenches, under tarps, and behind distant boulders to soften the blast. During one recording session, the engines rev so fiercely that a microphone stand topples and rolls down a slope, forcing the team to chase it over rough ground. What audiences never know is that the final engine soundtrack is built from dozens of attempts layered together with grit, sweat, and relentless determination to honor the plane's true voice. Fact number 1. The final attack sequence becomes a grueling marathon that strains every department. Aircraft fuel must be rationed, equipment repositioned, and crew transported up and down steep terrain. Tension rises as daylight fades faster each afternoon. It is not smooth blockbuster coordination, but survival against time. During one near-disastrous moment, a pilot misreads a visual marker and banks too late, scraping the side of a cliff with a jolt that shakes the entire crew to silence. He recovers, but the mood shifts. Everyone understands how thin the line is between triumph and tragedy. What audiences never know is that the final image of the squadron soaring away carries real emotion from a team that pushes through exhaustion, fear, and the fierce beauty of one of the most demanding aerial shoots ever attempted. Bonus fact: what even devoted fans rarely learn is that one of the Mosquito aircraft used in 633 Squadron is secretly held together with hidden interior patches applied by the crew after discovering severe age damage. The aircraft is too historically valuable to discard, yet too unstable to fly safely. Mechanics reinforce weak spots with improvised wooden bracing, soaked in resin, hoping it will survive minimal flight sequences. It is not restored vintage beauty, but a fragile relic pushed beyond its limits. During a critical take, the plane shudders violently mid-air, and the pilot radios a warning that something feels wrong. He lands with shaking hands. Inspection reveals that one support beam has cracked straight through. The team quietly retires the aircraft. Audiences never realize that one of the heroic screenplanes is a breath away from total failure. 633. Squadron endures not as a smooth, patriotic flight film, but as a testament to human will under pressure. It is built from unstable aircraft, harsh weather, real explosions, and the grit of a crew who risk more than the script ever shows. The legacy of the film lies in that tension between cinematic beauty and raw danger. The sky in the movie looks calm, but behind the camera storms rage. If you enjoyed this deep dive hit, like, subscribe, and take flight with us again for the next untold story.